I just read the liner notes, and everybody, of course, gravitates towards, the prairie landscape and, the Midwest and stuff like that. But he also says the heart of the heartland is the smell of your daughter in bed with, the two parents, and your first kiss in a drive-in and things like that. So it can be interpreted many different ways, according to Peter.
He told me he got the title from watching Grey's Anatomy, the TV show. So there you go.
Welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour where musicians pick an album from their back catalog and tell the stories behind their favorite tracks in front of a live online audience.
This week, we pay tribute to the late, great Emmy-winning composer, violinist, and mandolin player Peter Ostroushko by revisiting his iconic 1995 album, Heart of the Heartland. We are joined by Peter's longtime friends and collaborators, pianist Richard Dworsky, guitarist Dean Magraw, and former Red House Records president Eric Peltoniemi, to share their memories of Peter and the recording sessions. So pour a beverage, grab a snack, and kick back as we revisit Peter's music together, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, where it's always Friday and old albums never sounded better. All right. Hello and welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo.
My name is Anthony Ihrig.
And we are your hosts for this weekly musical happy hour where we usually invite different guest artists to talk about old recordings and share a drink with you all and just enjoy listening to some great music and hearing the stories behind the music. And today is a special episode. You might have noticed, for some of you regular listeners out there, that the theme music was a little different today. That was Peter Ostroushko's tune, The Puppy Belly Dance. And we wanted to squeeze in another track because we're going to be hard pressed to, we're having some trouble deciding what tracks to listen to today. So we thought we'd squeeze in another by substituting Anthony Ihrig's lovely composition, which is our regular theme, for Peter Ostroushko's. And it looks like Alan from Dallas, Texas says, "Ooh, can Peter do my on hold music?" Well, yes, if you buy that record, I bet you can make it your on hold music. So but anyway, welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you're new to the show, throw in the comments where you're listening from. If you're having a beverage as part of your kicking off your weekend, a lot of folks tuning in. Oh, nice. Hey, Anne. Yeah.
That's my neighbor.
Nice. And we have folks tuning in from all over the place. Steve and Lisa Winters from Connecticut. Folks listening from all over. So thank you so much. And some of our past Back Catalog guests like Nate from Trailer Trash joining us as well. So thank you all so much. Tony, what are you drinking today?
Well, in honor of springtime, I am going to the Utapils Brewery here in Minneapolis for their Springbok. It is that time of year. I'm feeling it. And a little nod to our good friend and Patreon supporter, Chris.
Nice. Well, I was feeling conflicted. So I had it on good authority that I think Dean was the one who told me this, that Peter Ostroushko's preferred beverage was black coffee. So I have a mug of black coffee right here. So, but then also I knew Eric Peltoniemi, former president of Red House Records, was joining us, and he is a tequila aficionado. Now, I'm not going to mix the two because that seems like a bad idea. But we'll see how the show goes. I might have to stick with one or the other. We'll see. We'll just see what happens during the show. So, but anyway, cheers to all of you. And as I mentioned, Eric Peltoniemi is joining us, Rich Dworsky and Dean Magraw, all people who knew and worked with Peter in various capacities. First of all, tell us what you all are drinking. So, Eric, why don't we start with you?
Well, this is kind of odd because I have that reputation for being a tequila drinker, but I haven't really drank hardly any alcohol since the beginning of the year, and I've lost a lot of weight. So,
well cheers to that. Yeah, right. Good job.
So anyway, but I thought I'd break the fast today. I'm drinking a little, what's the name of it? It's the French apple brandy that Maigret, the detective, always drank, like Calvados. I have a little bit of Calvados.
Nice. Oh. And so Eric joining us from St. Paul. Rich, where are you joining us from today?
I'm joining you all.
He's already got started.
I am in beautiful Wayzata, Minnesota.
Nice.
And the teetotaler of the bunch, I am drinking green matcha tea with oat milk. And here's to you.
Yes, nice.
And speaking of Peter with his coffee, I remember, almost every rehearsal when he would ring my doorbell, he would have his mando and his fiddle on one hand and his cup of coffee in the other. That was standard.
Yes. Dean, what are you drinking? And you're over in St. Paul, right?
St. Paul, matcha gyokuro.
Oh, more matcha. It's a matcha kind of day.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Nice. Well, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
And cheers to all of you
Hello.
for coming out.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to say about my relationship to Pete, friend, colleague, disciple, and he used to call me his other wife. I don't know if it was complimentary. I don't think it was.
And some might remember that Dean actually was one of our earlier guests on the show last year as well. So it's great to have him back. And then joining us for the first time again, Rich and Eric. And Rich, tell us about your relationship with Peter.
I met Peter backstage at World Theater in 1980 on a Prairie Home Companion. And I was appearing with Sima Shimolovsky, a Ukrainian-Russian Yiddish folk singer who had just arrived, barely spoke English, and beautiful discovery backstage is Peter, the scholar, master of Ukrainian music, and he just joined us on the spot, and that began a relationship that went on for many decades, concerts, recordings, many, many Prairie Home Companion performances, and it was an honor and a blessing.
Mm. And Eric.
Wow, it was kind of a, where do I begin? I'll keep it short, but
Good luck.
I was actually working as a freelancer with Flying Fish Records in Chicago, and Bob and I sort of struck up a relationship. Bob Feldman, and he was starting to do the Mando Boys project. I think Dean had already been on the label by that point, but anyway, so he turned that project partly over to me all of a sudden. And it was after about a month or so I realized I was actually working for Red House Records instead of Flying Fish Records. and so it ended up being over 30 years. And so this was in about 1985. So I was aware of Peter, but I got to know him through all these relationships we were working on, post-production of album projects and so forth. And we would just, every time he wanted to do a new project, we'd discuss how he was going to do it. And we could just cut the money down a little bit that he wanted for the project. But he always won because he and Bob would have a leg wrestling match, and they would, and that's how it happened. But then I was always wanted to, I'm a musician also. I was actually more of a musician before I hooked up with Bob. And so in later years, Peter and I got to work together on a theater project that I did with, that toured the Midwest for over a period of about 3 years called Gales of November, with Prudence Johnson, Ruth McKenzie, Claudia Schmidt, Dan Chenard, Jeff Wilkham, myself, and Peter. And it was a thrill for me to interact with him on that basis as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you said you probably got to know Peter around 1985 or so. And this album that we're going to revisit today on the Back Catalog Listening Party came out about 10 years later, 1995, Heart of the Heartland. And I think, and actually one of our regular listeners and Patreon supporters, Anne, it was actually her brilliant idea to do this special episode paying tribute to this record, because for so many of us, this is kind of the iconic Peter Ostroushko record with music that was used in, Ken Burns documentaries. And my sister used, I think, Heart of the Heartland to walk out for her wedding march. So, I mean, I feel like these tunes are really with us in a lot of different ways. And we hope that if you're listening out there during the show, a lot of folks are commenting. Please share your memories of Peter. If you have questions about these sessions or the tunes we listen to, throw them in there. This is really meant to be a community space to remember and honor Peter's music and share some of those great memories of him. So, without further ado, though, we do have a ton of music to get to. Yeah, so I want to dive into the first tune. And this is although I said we had some much conversation about which tracks to play because it's impossible to encapsulate all of Peter's music and his virtuosity in like 4 tracks or however many we're going to get to today. But this one tune everyone agreed on. Everyone wanted to play this. And I think because it captures something really special about Peter's music and playing. So this is called Seattle, the Fantasy. We're going to talk more about it afterwards. But let's dig in. Peter Ostroushko with Seattle, and yeah, that's pretty epic. That's what starts the record, folks. I just want to put that out there. And most albums don't start with a 7+ minute song, but I think we know why you'd want to start off with that. It's amazing stuff. Before, I want to talk with especially Dean and Rich about the recording of that track. But before we do, I do want to give a shout out to George Ostroushko, Peter's brother, who's watching the show and who designed the album artwork as well. So maybe we can get that up on the screen again so folks can check it out. But George, if there's anything you want to say about the painting or the artwork, it's beautiful. So I always think of the cover when I think of the record. So yeah. So anyway, thank you for that. And yeah, that track, I mean, it has a big cast. I know Rich and Dean, you're on it. In fact, someone said, "Come on, Dean," during that crazy solo of yours.
That was awesome.
And you were doing some epic dancing as well, Dean. I saw you. You were in it all over again. So
I forgot to mute my video.
I just wanted to say one thing. There's a lot of notes in there. There's not one wrong note.
Which is hard with so many people, although not with that kind of talent. So Dean, go ahead.
I just wanted to I don't get out of this, but I just wanted to say Peter's relationship with both Rich and Dean was so beyond just collaborator. It was a very heartfelt, and so I think that's that energy is all going on in that song.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
yeah, for sure. And Dean, what were you thinking as you were listening to this tune again? Were you kind of transported to? Do you remember those sessions, or are they kind of a blur now?
Well, actually, what I remember is when he first showed it to me. We were on the road in this living room, and I can suddenly remember the living room and all this kind of communication that went on and all the stuff that I had to learn and write down so I could remember it. And I just want to point out, so Pete, so famous for being a mandolin player, playing ballads, but in his shows, in his live shows, playing the violin, man, that guy could tear up an entire world with his violin. It just, the amount of energy he was able to expend and still remain focused and centered. It's unbelievable. So that Seattle is an example of that. And it's also an example of him stretching. It's fiddle tunes, but in a huge context, Americana type context, worthy of, one of the great composers. Because after all, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, the 21st century, Peter Ostroushko is one of America's great composers.
Amen.
And he's spread the arrangement around, and there's all these little dips, and he hands it off to different people. The textures change, and there's even bars of 7, which is against the rules of just about every. It fits. It all makes momentum. It all has this forward momentum, and you can feel the power of it. And I defy anyone to stop their body from moving. It's in some place when they're listening to Pete play the violin. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
So I just want to credit the other musicians. You kids will learn about these things later. We had Mark Anderson on percussion, Gordy Johnson on bass.
Excellent.
In addition to me and Dean. Dean, what a fabulous solo. All these years later, I'm going, whoa, Dean Magraw. Awesome.
We got a picture here. Is this the band then that was?
That was one of the bands that toured. That's he called it the Heart of the Heart, or the Heartland Band. There is Mark on the far right, Dirk Framath, Ruth McKenzie, and Joel Sales. Peter spread the love around. A lot of us were very fortunate to work with him.
Yeah.
I want to, Dean covered a lot about the description of this tune. A lot of people talk about Americana, and that seems to pigeonhole a very small amount of chords, small melodic vocabulary to use. And I dug out some of my charts, and
Wow.
you can see 3-8-2-4, 3-8-2-4, like Pete was talking about, things that you don't usually do in fiddle tunes. There are those two beat foot stomping sections, but also if you listen closely, you'll hear him doing that Irish Scottish triplet thing. Just flawlessly. That takes a lifetime to master. To do it without struggling. And some of the chords were almost like Pat Metheny and Lyle Mays, exploring a little bit of that fusion thing. So it was really a awesome combo, and a great pleasure to participate in that.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And if you just tuned into the back catalog listening party, today we are paying tribute to Peter Ostroushko, who left us far too soon, but left us with a lot of great music. So we're paying tribute to his 1995 release, Heart of the Heartland, and joining us today, Rich Dworsky, Dean Magraw, and Eric Peltoniemi, all of whom worked with Peter over the years, and including on this project. And again, if you have comments, memories of Peter, feel free to throw them in there, because we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, lots of comments here, and it's kind of a who's who of amazing musicians too. You can go through here, but I'm like, oh, what? Oh, I mean, clearly, yes, one of the most, like Dean said, just one of the greats of our generation, and
yeah, and such a generous musician as well.
Hey there, would you like to be part of the live show? Well, become a member of the Back Catalog Listening Party Patreon, and you'll get a backstage pass to weekly online tapings, where you can ask the artist questions and participate in the live chat with a fun community of like-minded music nerds. You'll also get a first look at upcoming guests and receive invitations to special live streams and private after parties. So join the party today at patreon.com/Back Catalog Listening Party.
So, what I was curious about is where did you record this? Maybe I'm jumping on Tony's question, because he's always the studio guy. Where did you record it? And did you record any of these sessions live, or did you layer on the tracks? Because I would imagine this would be a hard one not to do live. But
can I give a shout out to the engineer who recorded and mixed it, Tom Mudge at Studio M, which is the 4th floor of Minnesota Public Radio studio.
It's a great studio.
Beautiful
studio, beautiful equipment. But Tom loved Peter. Was very proud to work on so many of his records, and you can feel that. And it was a rare thing these days, especially during COVID. You see, person starts with a basic track, and then you send a file, through Dropbox to somebody else on the other part of the country, and it comes out okay, and you hear the musicianship, but there's nothing like a whole bunch of people in the same room making music at the same time, with a competent engineer capturing it all. It's pretty stupendous.
Yeah.
Rich, did you layer on that organ? Was
Yes,
that added?
Yep,
Okay.
that was an overdub.
So the basic track was with piano?
Yep.
Okay.
Good ear.
And speaking of great engineers, Doug Lohman, I see, one of our great live sound engineers, is tuning in. And Penny had a great comment too. She said she got to hear Peter and Pearson, student musicians at St. Paul Conservatory, where Anna Ostroushko, Peter's daughter, was her daughter's classmate. So really, really lovely hearing your stories. Keep them coming. We're going to dig into our next tune, so we can at least try and get through some of the tracks that we wanted to. This one was one of Dean's picks, Prairie Sunrise. Dean, is there anything you wanted to say about it before we took a listen?
Can I say something afterwards? Because
Sure.
I want people to have their own impressions, and then I want to talk about the genius of Peter Ostroushko a little bit.
Sounds great. Have to wait for that last Mando note. That was Peter Ostroushko, joined by Dean Magraw on that tune, Prairie Sunrise, from Peter's 1995 album, Heart of the Heartland, which we are revisiting today on the back catalog listening party, paying tribute to Peter's music. And a special shout out to his family who is tuning in, Anna, Marge, and his brother George as well. So thank you all for being with us. Feel free to keep sharing your memories and of people sharing their memories of seeing Peter play and listening to his music. I know Alan said Dean Grissman was Saturday night listening and Sunday morning was Peter Ostroushko. So yeah, that tune Prairie Sunrise is just amazing, Dean. But I want to hear what you remember of this track or what you think when you listen to this.
This piece of music so many times with Pete live, and it was never the same, and it was always the same. The magic of Peter Ostroushko's compositions and the way he played them. Incredible. I also want, before I forget, that's Diane Tremaine on cello. Am I right, Rich? Will you check that?
I think it's Sarah Lewis.
That's what I meant to say. Sarah Lewis on the cello. So, cinematic. Prairie Sunrise. We start, it's kind of misty. The light's starting to change. We're looking at the prairie. Kind of this thing starts to happen, and then the first melody happens. And you can feel just the tip of the sun coming up. And then you get to the interlude, and it's now definitely piercing. And then the second iteration of the melody happens, and it's definitely rising. And then right when it breaks into fully free of the horizon, it's the bridge, and it goes up to the 4 chord. Sorry, music theorists and all that. But it's a really low note on the cello. It's down there, whatever. Rich can sing the exact note. But suddenly we're going between chords that are in the key, the original key. But also there's this transformation happening, this magical transformation happening in how he constructs the harmony. And it lifts, it keeps on lifting, keeps on opening up. The light keeps spreading out until finally we do a little drift down, and you think we're going back to the original key, but we're not. We're staying in that key, and then it's full noontime light or whatever, just light everywhere. The sun has risen, and it's just, I mean, it's beyond beautiful. And it happened night after night after night. And people can feel it. Everybody's got their own interpretation, and mine evolved, obviously, but it's in the name, Prairie Sunrise. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
it's interesting you mentioned the cinematic aspects of Peter's music, because I mean, I think we can all hear that in every piece that Peter has done, but it's no wonder that, you know, Ken Burns and then later for that TPT series, The History of the Land, you know, that they were using Peter's music to score these things, because he really had a sense of that. And it seems like all his music seems very rooted in place as well.
Yep. I mean,
You could just use the music alone. You don't need the talkover of the Ken Burns. It's like the music itself. No offense, Ken.
Very true. Very true. And yeah. And Peter also, you know, had such a, you know, I saw some of his family, you know, speaking in their native tongue, but, you know, Peter always liked to talk about his family and his roots. And that seemed like a big part of his music as well.
absolutely.
So the next track, before we move on, I did want to mention that because we got to see Peter's amazing mandolin, or hear his, I guess I was taking on Dean's cue. I could see it. I could see Dean's, Peter's playing. But his great mandolin playing is that MacPhail Center for Music has established a mandolin program in Peter's honor at MacPhail Center for Music, a great neighborhood music school here in Minneapolis. And if folks want to support that, they can make a donation towards that at mcphail.org. So that's a great way to honor Peter's memory and his legacy here in Minnesota. And he, of course, was an avid teacher. So I know this would mean a lot to him and his family.
There's a link now in the comments, so you can click on over after the episode.
Yes. So we're going to actually move on to the title track of the album next, Heart of the Heartland. And this, I didn't know this until Dean told me this week when we were talking about the tracks and what order to put them in. But Dean, you said that this was always number 3 in his sets when he performed live.
Usually he would actually place it in the heart of the set. And if he did it in the second set, it would be the third one in the second set. Now, not always, because not every show is the same length, but that was typical.
That's interesting. I always thought like there is something about the third song of a set, and I've never heard it articulated before. The first one, people are still getting to their seats. The second one wakes them up, but the third one, you really get their attention.
Yep.
That's
now they're vulnerable. Yep.
Yep. I love that. The heart of the set.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hear this now. Is there anything that anyone wants to say before we take a listen to it?
I just read the liner notes, and everybody, of course, gravitates towards, the prairie landscape and, the Midwest and stuff like that. But he also says the heart of the heartland is the smell of your daughter in bed with, the two parents and the baby daughter, and your first kiss in a drive-in and things like that. So it can be interpreted many different ways, according to Peter.
He told me he got the title from watching Grey's Anatomy, the TV show. So there you go.
So it could be anything.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen. Peter Ostroushko, Heart of the Heartland, here on the back catalog listening partner.
Peter Ostroushko, Heart of the Heartland. I think a lot of folks have the waterworks going during that tune.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I don't know, put into words. Just Peter is such an emotive player and composer. I feel like, I don't know. Every time I hear it, I feel something different.
Another thing I'd like to mention is I don't know of any mandolinist that has that touch on a tremolo. It can be feather soft, and when the dynamics go, it's so fluid. There's no breaks in it. It just flows all over the place. It can be like a feather. It can be really strong. It's just marvelous.
I completely agree with that analysis. I've never heard anybody really have that kind of dynamic control, even if they're playing a pulled instrument or a stringed instrument. It's unbelievable the dynamics of Peter Ostroushko, and he's playing. He's tremoloing. It's a miracle, truly.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to comment about what you said, Ellen, with the emotions. There's a famous version of this you can find on YouTube when he performed it on one of the Prairie Home Cinecasts. So it's very beautifully shot, and did it with the shoe band. And the applause at the end is just thunderous. People were just moved, and, shouting, thunderous applause. And Peter, Garrison kind of had to force Peter to stand up. He was so humble, and he did that slow rise and that very humble, just dip of the head bow. It's almost like, I'm just sharing this gift. Don't thank me. It was very beautiful.
Yeah. And that was very much Peter's spirit. Like, he always, such a generous musician. And I saw Ruth McKenzie, of course, who you mentioned earlier, Eric, is joining us, and said how much, let's see, there it is. So grateful to be in the presence of friends, remembering this great musician, such a dear friend who supported me in so many of my projects. And I think every musician I've talked to in the last, months since Peter's passing has said the same thing, that it just commented on his generosity of both creatively and professionally supporting other people's work. So
I wanted to say something more about Pete and the mandolin. He told me that was the first instrument that he played, that he found one under his father's bed and pulled it out and secretly played it against the rules of the house. And when he got involved with mandolin, I don't know, George will know the age, maybe, I can't remember, but when he told me, this is what he told me, that his connection with the mandolin was the deepest of all the instruments. And he plays more than just guitar, mandolin, violin. He plays the piano, and he can play all kinds of other stuff too. But when he was feeling sad as a youth, when things weren't going the way he wanted to, or there was something troubling him, or he needed some advice, he would go to the mandolin. And you can hear that, how he plays every note. I mean, there is no, back to what Eric said, there's no more nuanced mandolin player in the history of mankind. I went too far that time.
No, I agree.
It's just unbelievable, his connection. And also, I couldn't always get him talking, and I couldn't always get him talking about instruments, but I could almost always get him talking if we were talking about mandolins. And not just the instrument or the history of an instrument, although those happen too, but also how he felt about it and what it meant to him.
yeah. And, George, I haven't seen him say what age the mandolin happened, but he said that he bought Peter his first guitar at age 12, and they formed a band at that stage. So and the Butterfly Revolution was the name of the band, he says. And he said that even then he could tell he was destined for greatness, but George says he was just the vocalist.
Yeah. And Pete's dad was mandolin player in a band called, and excuse my Ukrainian, it's way off, but Chirivnaki, which is the Enchanters.
Love that. And it's so great to hear people's stories about music being played at their weddings and different occasions. And that's how I think of this album. As again, it's sort of like, I don't know, I feel like even if people don't think they know Peter's music, they do. It's like it's just ingrained in so many aspects of our lives. And here in Kentucky, most of the bluegrass players I know loved him. It's true. He very eclectic in terms of different styles of music. So, well, let's try and get to this last tune we have picked out for folks, Dakota Themes. Is there anything anyone wants to say about it before we dig in?
Well, can I say something?
Mhm.
I want to make sure to say a couple things. Today marks the 29th anniversary of Anna Kim Ostroushko arriving at the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, where she was met by her new father, Peter Ostroushko, and mother, the wonderful Marge Ostroushko. Our beloved Anna. There is a great picture. Thanks for putting that up, Tony. Yeah, there she is herself.
Great.
This man loved his daughter.
Yeah.
And still loves his daughter.
Yeah. And add to that, Marge and Peter came to a session we were doing up in the aforementioned Studio M. I don't know if it was the very same day, but like within a day of Anna arriving, they brought this little baby up there and just interrupted our session, just walked in, like show and tell, like, look what we got, look what we got. And like, oh my God, we were just blown away with a, adorable baby. And we all played with her little feet and cheeks. And, they just brought her into a session to show her off. So it was very sweet.
Lovely.
And she came on tour with us, in a private plane, one of those Garrison Keillor rhubarb tours. Peter was on it as a special guest, and we had a private plane, and he brought Anna as a guest. And, the flight attendants just fell in love with her and stocked Tootsie Rolls and all sorts of candy, and laid them out.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And she used to sit in the back seat. She went on tour with us too, but we were in a car. You may have heard of them.
Well, this is so wonderful. It feels like a family reunion here. So, so great to have you all join us as we remember Peter Ostroushko here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you're new to the show, we do this actually every week and revisit old records. Well, we don't do this every week. This is really special to have Rich, Dean, and Eric here to talk about these Heart of the Heartland sessions and remember our good friend Peter Ostroushko in this way. The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by EFS Publicity. Founded by veteran publicist, promoter, DJ, and musician Ellen Stanley, EFS brings an artist's perspective to the table, working to help clients get to the next level in their career. Services include national and international media campaigns, radio promotions, tour press, crowdfunding, grant writing, and more. Get a quote or set up a consultation today at efspublicity.com. So we're going to dive into this last track, and then we'll chat more about it. This is Dakota Themes.
I was just going to say, this tune functioned as almost like a demo reel of his compositional virtuosity and variety. The first one is strings playing this plaintive theme, and then, more instruments are introduced, and then it kind of turns into a, bluegrass at the end.
All right, let's give it a listen. Dakota Themes on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
And that's really the end this time, we think. Dakota themes, Peter Ostroushko here on the back catalog listening party. And I love, that there's enough of a pause before that last section.
Mhm.
It's what, as a DJ, I would call the technical name a psych out, where you're like, oh, I thought I had a couple minutes left. And, but no, great tune. And as you said, Rich, I mean, this really does show the versatility of Peter's music and playing, and it's so great to revisit today.
Can I talk about the pause just for a second?
Yes,
Please do.
Peter was a great man for silences. He was a great man for silences, and that's a very deep discussion. I'll just say that sometimes when he talked about it, he referred to it in terms of an old American marketing strategy, the pause that refreshes. And he was not ashamed of silence.
this is very true. My memories of Peter, I got to work with him a little when I worked at Red House Records with Eric, and I remember when Peter would call into the office, you'd say, "Hello, Red House Records," and all you'd hear is, and then you were like, "Oh, hi, Peter!" Like you knew it was Peter before he said it, because there was just like kind of heavy sigh and a long pause before he decided to say, who he was and what he was calling about. But yeah, you're right. Peter was not afraid of taking his time, which I think made his music all the better for sure. Is there any other thoughts about that track in particular?
And I just
Rich?
also credit, there was a different cellist on this one, Cecilia Rossiter, and David Bullock was the additional violinist on that first section. So I just wanted to make sure I got in there. And on the very first track, Bruce Kernow played the harmonica.
Yes.
Woo! Excellent. Well, and speaking of that first track, again, we did we used the Puppy Belly Dance, one of the tracks from the record, as the intro. And I do want to give Dean the opportunity, or any of the rest of you, if you want to take a stab at it. There was a great introduction that Peter always gave that tune when he played it live. I don't know, Dean, do you know it?
I was there. We were having dinner in Charlottesville, Virginia, which in those days was a beautiful college town. It didn't have any of the, anyway, I guess it still is a beautiful college town. Anyway, Charlottesville, Virginia. We're in the company of wonderful people, and they had made us really great food. And one of the people who we, connected with every time we were down that way, which we were down a lot, Kathy Peterson, or we called her KP, is a slight woman, and she was eating, and at one point, sort of 2/3 of the way through, she put down her fork and her knife, and she pushed back from the table and said, "I believe I have a case of puppy belly." And that got everybody's attention. So when Pete would tell the story at the show, he would talk about the DFSW, the delicate flower of Southern womanhood. And in his rendering, she wouldn't say, "I believe." She would say, "I do declare. I think I have a case of puppy belly." And what is puppy? And so we asked, "What's puppy belly?" And she said, "Well, it's when you eat a certain amount and your stomach protrudes in an unsightly manner." There was no moment that Pete didn't use an excuse to write new music. But you can hear the humor and the lightness and the openness and the invitation and the inclusiveness in that very, very simple form you created.
Oh yeah. And well, I love to, by the way, I think during this time of COVID where many of us are at home a lot and maybe eating a lot, I don't know, I feel like I'm a constant state of puppy belly.
Yeah, I'm going to start using that one after meals. I do declare. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Every meal, #puppy belly. Anyway, if you missed the Puppy Belly Dance or any of the tracks, or you want to hear them again in higher fidelity, then maybe you're listening on your phone or while you're making dinner or whatever you're doing on your Friday. I highly recommend you get the album. listen to it in the high fidelity. It's available on CD through Red House Records, Compass Records, and also through Peter's website right there, peterostroushko.com. All the records are available, and including this one, The Heart of the Heartland, that we've been revisiting today. And it's, again, the recording quality is just amazing. And we're hearing it the way we're hearing it.
Yeah,
So
it sounds so good.
this kind of feels like Peter's musical family gathering together today. So if we could help
It's
his
very
family.
special. We want to make sure we thank everybody who was tuning in from out there on the internet. So many friends and family. We really, this is what this show was all about, was to bring people together over music, and Peter really did that. And I want to thank Dean and Rich and Eric one more time too. Dean, yes, sir.
I want to say,
I love how you raise your hand, Dean.
I like
that.
That's
You're
great.
so well behaved.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I just want to say a huge thank you to all you people, because really you're looking at, it's incalculable and indescribable how much brotherly love and musical support and artistic input Rich Dworsky and Eric Peltoniemi have had. And it was a bliss from heaven that you were working at Red House, Eric and Ellen. And Anthony, you're a bad dude. I love you too much.
I was listening to a lot of Red House recordings at the time.
Well, you're younger than the rest of us.
Thanks.
Pretty sure.
Oh, well,
But it's not only us on the screen, it's so many people. Thank you so much. We spent time on this earth with this amazing human being and genius artist, and it's our good fortune that happened.
Amen. Amen.
yeah, I think that says it all right there. So we want to thank all of you for joining us today for this very special show. If you missed any of it or you want to share it with a friend, it will be available on YouTube. So you can share this link. You can like it. And then the bots will tell more people about Peter's music in this episode, which is great. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to know about other future. We do this episodes. We do this every week at Friday at 4. Again, not always with Dean, sadly, with Dean, Rich, and Eric. But we do invite.
But all three of you are welcome any Friday.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
But some of our past catalog guests, many of whom have actually played with Peter, are also joining us today as just part of the party. And we hope that you will join us again next week. I can't remember what's happening next week, but if you like our Facebook page, you can find out all about it. And we also want to thank all our Patreon supporters that make this show possible every week. And we've been doing this exactly a year. This is our 52nd episode today.
Yeah. Got us through this whole
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So we want to thank Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, and Sarah, and maybe you if you want to support the show. But mainly we want to thank you for listening, because that's what this show is really about, is you participating. As Tony said, it's what's gotten us through this past year. And because we've had so much fun and you've valued it so much, we're going to keep doing this.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. This is what it's all about. This is what music is all about to many of us. It's bringing people together. I mean, I think music really is what's going to save us. I believe that.
There you go.
And
Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much for doing this. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Really great of you to do this.
Thank you so much. Everyone
Ellen, you had this idea that maybe we should just go out the same way we came in. And I thought that was a great idea.
With Puppy Belly.
With Puppy Belly Dance. Now that everyone's got the story, I do declare Dean Magraw will be continuing to do his dance during this. If that's cool with you guys, why don't we just play that out and we'll click off after that. Feel free to keep writing in the comments. I enjoy what you bring to our show, but I also love watching you guys interact with each other. Seeing people connect for long distance is very special. So keep chatting in the comments and keep chatting to our wonderful guests. Thanks again to Dean, Rich, and Eric, and on behalf of Ellen and I, thank you. We'll hope to see you next week, and let's go out with the Puppy Belly. And like the Cherish the Ladies episode, maybe we should just keep the mics hot. And if you want to, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
We had a recent episode where we just kept talking over the last song. And so if anybody wants to say anything about what you're hearing, Rich,
I'll say something.
Yeah.
When I was on the road with Pete, we ate a lot of food, and I could almost watch my stomach crawl when I was sitting down in the car. Watch my stomach crawl across towards my knees.
Mr. Fun asks, will it be replayed? Yes, sir. You can go to YouTube, that catalog listening party, and replay it.
This is a three-way with four-way: bass, harmonica, guitar, and mandolin.
Yeah. Now it's like a real show. We're talking over the music. I like that. No,
This tune shows the funky side of Peter.
I love this. Remind me again who was on harmonica?
Bruce Kerno,
Curno.
the creeper. Bruce Kerno, the creeper. There's a three-way.
Gordy Johnson.
Yeah.
My belly doesn't sound this funky.
More beans, Ellen.
Yeah. I always got to clap for the bass solo. I don't care if it's on or anything. You gotta.
Watch out, there might be a drum solo. Oh, there it is.
That's for you, Dan, if you're out there.
We're in the playground.
And this is the theme of Peter's podcast. Check out Peter's podcast.
Oh. All right. Thank you all so much for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you all of you for joining us, and thanks to Peter. Here's to Peter Ostroushko.
Here's to Peter. Thanks for joining us on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review, which helps more people discover our show and our guests.
And do you want to be a part of the live show, get a first look at upcoming guests, and receive invites to private online parties and live streams? Then join our Patreon community at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
Have a great week. We'll see you back here next Friday for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party.